There is a strange moment that no one can predict, when all the noises of life suddenly become distant, and within that layer of silence, an unusual feeling appears, as if something is trying to awaken you. It does not come with words, carries no image, holds no specific sound, yet you clearly recognize that something is calling your name from within. It is not the voice of memory or thought, but a subtle wave gently tapping at the boundary between knowing and forgetting. That is the first signal, the ignition of an ancient memory, a memory that does not belong to the mind, but to the essence. It makes you pause right in the middle of your daily journey among the intentions, goals, and efforts that still occupy your mind. Everything remains the same, only the perception of them changes, as if the world has just been refocused, clearer, deeper, and stiller. You do not understand why you feel that something is happening, but you know that this silence is not random. Within that stillness, there is a subtle movement, like the first current running through a dormant circuit of energy. It does not bring excitement, but carries a form of pure awareness, without meaning, without conclusion, only absolute clarity. You begin to see the smallest things around you shining in a different way, not because they have changed, but because the one who sees has changed. When a new attention is opened, the world responds on the same frequency, and everything begins to become a dialogue. A breeze passing by is no longer just wind, but a message. A closing door is not mere coincidence, but the rhythm of life realigning your orbit. You sense this subtlety even before the mind can grasp it, and that itself is the evidence that the signal has touched the deepest part of you, where knowledge and intuition are no longer separate. As the signal draws closer, you will notice something else. That a thin layer between the observer and the world is gradually disappearing. You no longer stand outside, looking in. You are the one being seen, being lived, being breathed. This feeling is not an illusion. It only feels strange because you have forgotten it for too long. The signal does not come to grant you something new. It only removes the dust covering your inherent awareness. In the days that follow, coincidences begin to connect into sequences. Thoughts unformed are answered. Old worries lose their weight. All of this does not happen through effort, but because you are operating on a different rhythm, the rhythm of remembering. When the signal is active, nothing requires explanation. You no longer need to understand, you only need to see. And within that seeing, the world reveals itself. What you once called intuition now becomes the new logic of reality, where information does not pass through reasoning but through resonance. The less you resist, the stronger the signal. The less you try to prove, the clearer it becomes. One day you will realize that everything that once confused you was actually part of this process. Every mistake, every delay, every detour was intricately designed to bring you to the exact frequency where the signal could be received. When that happens, you no longer see life as chaos, but as a symphony of perfect structure, and you are the player, the listener, and the melody all at once. There is nothing to attain, only awakening. And when you awaken, the signal is no longer outside, it is you. Light is not only a physical phenomenon, it is the first language the universe used to understand itself. Every photon carries within it a fragment of a message, not written in letters, but in frequency. When human awareness becomes still enough, clear enough, they begin to hear this language, not through the ears, but through resonance. There are moments when you stand within an ordinary scene, light touching the wall, reflecting off an object. And for a few seconds, everything feels different, as if it is not you looking at the light, but the light looking at you. That is when the oldest language is translated directly into consciousness, not through words, not through images, but through the simple knowing that everything is communicating in silence. In the depth of reality, light is a stream of information, a form of pure data untouched by time or memory. When science calls it a wave, religion calls it divine radiance, and the awakened call it remembrance. Though the names differ, the essence is one. The energy of knowing, seeking to express itself through form. Every being carries this language, yet most have forgotten how to listen. They live within an ocean of signals, but can only hear the echoes of thought. The language of light does not speak through logic, it speaks through arrangement, through the way an event slides into the perfect moment, through the way a person steps into your life just when you need an answer, through the way a gentle breeze stops your mind amidst chaos. All are flashes of intelligent light, rewriting the script of perception. When you begin to understand that light does not come from outside, but radiates from the center of your being, everything changes. The world is no longer a place you observe, it becomes a structure that responds. Every thought you create, every emotion you send, is a small ray of light transmitted into the field of consciousness. And when focused enough, that light returns as reality. This is not magic, but the natural principle of this language, where every energy sent must return to its source. When you say "I am," you generate a chain of vibrations, moving through the layers of energy surrounding all things, seeking structures of the same frequency and drawing them near. This language does not understand pleading, it only understands frequency. If you speak of lack, you emit the frequency of lack. If you feel wholeness, you send the frequency of completeness. Light only reflects faithfully what you carry. It does not reward or punish. It simply reads the data you transmit. Therefore, those who understand the language of light do not try to control circumstances. They refine their transparency. When the inner world is no longer chaotic, light passes through undistorted, and reality becomes luminous. Every mystery, every direction, every answer is already within this flow. The only requirement is stillness, for stillness is the state in which light passes without distortion. When the mind is quiet, you begin to see what could not be seen before. The subtle connections between objects, sounds, and thoughts become clear. You see that everything is connected by the same thing, and that thing is the rhythm of light. Whether you look at a person, at the rain, or at the silence between two breaths, you see the same life shining. That is when you no longer need words to understand, for light has become your language. Every communication, every thought, every action emits a unique code of energy, and you begin to speak in light without knowing. When you walk into a place and a feeling of peace spreads, it is not because you carry special energy, but because the light within you is no longer blocked. It shines through everything, even through others. Your presence becomes a tuning signal for the space, like the dawn touching the water, every ripple reflecting the same color. To understand the language of light is to understand that the universe does not speak, it vibrates. And you do not need to listen, only to attune. When you live in the frequency of awareness, everything you touch begins to shine more brightly, not in a visual sense, but in a soulful one. Life is no longer something you must understand, but the melody you are playing, and light is the tune. Each moment you remember this, the language of light expands, becomes more refined, more precise, and one day you realize it does not just surround you, it is you. When light has found your rhythm, reality begins to reveal a structure you could not see before. What was once called coincidence now becomes orderly, as if the universe is composing a symphony that only you can hear. Every detail that seems small, a number repeating itself, an unplanned encounter, a random sentence slipping through the noise, all carry the same rhythm. It is not coincidence, but synchronicity, the way reality responds when consciousness begins to recognize itself. This pattern of signs does not appear to make you believe in something mystical. It comes to show you that the universe is not fragmented, that everything is connected by an intricate web of energy and awareness. On the surface level of perception, you will see signs appearing along the line of time, but when you look deeper, you will realize that time is merely the plane upon which these signals are projected, while their true connection exists in the inner realm, where every cause and effect happens simultaneously. A thought arises and an event occurs perhaps days apart, but they are two ends of the same rhythm. When you think of someone and that person suddenly reaches out, it is not a miracle. It is the natural interaction between two frequencies in phase. We are all vibrating in an ocean of energy, and every emotion, every belief, every thought is a wave being sent out. When your wave touches one of the same kind, reality responds instantly through the appearance of corresponding manifestations. The pattern of signs, therefore, is not a miraculous phenomenon, but the way the universe keeps your energetic map continuously updated. It is like an intelligent reflection system, always sending back signals to let you know where you are on the journey of consciousness evolution. If you are in confusion, the signs will come in confusion. If you are clear, everything that appears around you will also be transparent. You may have experienced this when things happen so quickly that they defy explanation, when you think of something and it immediately unfolds, when everyone you meet seems to carry the same hidden message. That is the stage where consciousness and reality are no longer separate. When attention becomes powerful, it arranges circumstances to reflect itself. Everything around you becomes a mirror, and the signs are reflections of the light you emit. Wisdom lies in learning to read those mirrors without assigning fear or illusion to them. Signs do not come to make you superstitious. They come to teach you the language of flow. When you can read the rhythm of the flow, you will know when to act and when to be still. Just as a rower cannot force the water to move faster, you cannot force the signs to appear before you are ready. The pattern only emerges when the mind is still enough to perceive repetition within order. The signal is never wrong, only your interpretation can be. Therefore, observation without judgment is essential. When you stop labeling things as good or bad, the signs become clearer because they are no longer distorted by your bias. You will see sequences of events that seem paradoxical but open new doors, delays that turn out to be protection, losses that lead to rebirth. The pattern of signs is always honest. It reflects precisely your inner state in external form. If you find confusion, look at what frequency you are carrying. If everything arrives gently, it is because you have returned to your true rhythm. There is no need to seek signs, only to live in awareness, and the signs will find you. When your attention is not pulled away by noise, you will realize every detail around you carries a message. A stranger's glance, a passing phrase, even the way a leaf falls, all belong to an invisible map being drawn each day. Reading that map requires no effort, only presence. Presence is the microscope of the soul, allowing you to see the order within chaos. And when you see the order, fear disappears because you understand that nothing is against you. Everything is simply arranging itself to guide you toward a higher place of awareness. Once you realize this, you no longer chase the signal, you become the signal. You live as a broadcasting point, every action, every thought carrying the message of clarity. When you walk into a room, your energy shifts the atmosphere without a word. When you meet another, your gaze makes them remember what they have forgotten. You no longer read the signs, you write them. And in the flow of life, what was once called coincidence becomes dialogue, a wordless conversation between consciousness and itself, where everything is so precise that doubt cannot exist. And you know that you have learnt the language of alignment, the language only the truly awake can understand, for it does not live in words, but in the way the world breathes with you. There comes a moment that every soul on the journey of awakening must face. the moment when everything once built, believed, and identified with begins to shake. There is no warning, no prediction, only a morning when you wake up and see that the world is no longer the same. What once brought safety suddenly feels foreign. The plans that once felt certain now seem meaningless, and every effort to control falls into emptiness. This is the stage of collapse, an unavoidable phase where all old structures are forced to dissolve to make way for something greater. From the outside, it may look like loss, like crisis, like a chain of random errors, but at the deeper level, this is the quantum reshaping process of consciousness. No collapse happens by accident. All are responses of life when the inner energy exceeds the limits of its old form. Every belief, every role, every boundary is a container, and when your frequency surpasses that container, it must break so that the soul can continue expanding. The first thing that breaks is usually the sense of self, when you no longer know who you are. The identity once built from memories, roles, and expectations begins to crack. You find yourself no longer fitting into conversations, no longer excited by dreams once pursued, and deep within, a vague feeling of emptiness mixed with peace appears. The old is dissolving, the new has not yet formed, and in that intersection, all definitions lose meaning. Your body may feel tired, your mind may resist, for human nature fears emptiness. Yet emptiness is where life begins again. Observe nature. No seed can sprout without breaking its shell. No star is born without passing through contraction. Collapse is only the natural cycle of evolution where energy is reclaimed to restructure at a higher level. You may feel abandoned, but in truth, it is how the universe forces you to step away from false supports to find your true center. Everything taken from you is not punishment, but a return to your original frequency. When old beliefs dissolve, the energy once trapped within them is released. That is why after every crisis, you often feel lighter, even if you do not know why. That lightness is the sign that energy has begun to flow again. In physics, when a structure no longer matches the energy inside it, it collapses to reach new balance. Consciousness works the same way. You are not losing, you are being reshaped to hold more light. However, in the moment of collapse, the mind will try to cling to the old. It will name fears, remind you of what feels safe, demand that you return to familiar patterns. If you listen, the cycle repeats and evolution pauses. If you dare to stand still amid the dissolution, not running, not avoiding, just observing, you will witness another phenomenon, the disappearance of boundaries. When everything around you falls apart, you realize there is nothing left to hold on to, and at that moment you touch the ground of existence itself. It does not depend on work, title, or relationships. It is pure presence, unconditional. You realize you were never the things that are lost. You only borrowed them to experience. Collapse then becomes birth. You begin to see a new order beneath the chaos, one more subtle, more quiet, more precise. What once seemed like failure is now understood as redirection. The people who left turn out to be doors that had to close to lead you elsewhere. What you called an ending was only a pause for the breath of the universe to change rhythm. At the energetic level, collapse is not an ending, but a compression phase. Everything contracts inward to prepare for a new expansion. Like the heartbeat, expansion and contraction are one movement. Without contraction, there is no momentum for expansion. Life is the same. It must pull you inward so you can deepen, then push you outward again. If you are in the stage of collapse, understand that you are not moving backward. You are being brought back to the root. Every layer falling away is simply revealing the core that has always been there. From here, you begin to see something essential, that nothing external can be held forever. Everything exists only to teach you how to return within. When that lesson is complete, form dissolves, the soul advances. Collapse, therefore, is not an enemy. It is the ruthless yet honest hand of life, always breaking what is false to return you to what is real. The more you resist, the stronger it becomes. The more you accept, the gentler it flows. Let everything fall. Let what no longer fits leave. Do not hold on to an expired version of yourself. When you release, energy gathers itself and builds a new form, like ashes nourishing the earth. What collapses today becomes the foundation for tomorrow's life. And you will see there is a strange beauty in dissolution, a kind of freedom born only when everything you once feared losing has already been lost. From that point, you no longer need to protect yourself from life. You become life. There is no one left to fight, nothing left to keep, only breath, each moment unfolding like a small universe, quiet, radiant, and full of vitality. When collapse is complete, silence comes, but silence is no longer emptiness. It is the space of rebirth. Within that stillness, you feel a new current moving, soft, bright, and clear. It is the signal that the old cycle has ended. You are no longer who you were, yet you are no one else. You are simply a part of life newly renewed, preparing to step into the next expansion. There is nothing to seek, nothing to fix, only one thing to keep: the awareness that every collapse carries within it the seed of beginning. And when you understand this with your whole presence, no fear can touch you again. For you know that even when everything dissolves, what is true remains, nameless, formless, but eternal. The unveiling does not come like a blazing flash tearing through the dark, but like a quiet breath, slowly spreading through the body, awakening the parts of you that once seemed dead. It does not promise transcendence, nor carry drama, but is simple, deep, and absolutely clear. When the veil of perception falls, it is not the world that changes, but the one who sees. You begin to see everything through the eyes of truth, no longer clouded by fear, expectation, or memory. All forms are still there, but the light within them has changed, and that light is you. Every movement, every sound, every moment becomes a reflection of the same awareness, and for the first time you understand the true meaning of living. Not to exist in order to achieve something, but to be allowed to see. This seeing is not religious, not belief, but direct realization that all that was ever divided is now united in an invisible breath. What is called I and the world are no longer in opposition. You no longer stand outside observing. You are the part being observed. All separation between subject and object dissolves. When there is no longer two, you realize there is only one energy moving through all forms. It has no name, no boundary, no need to be worshipped, for it is the ground of everything that exists. And the most miraculous thing is that you have never been apart from it, only forgotten how to see. The unveiling begins when you stop trying to seek the light and start allowing the light to see through you. Then truth needs no proof. It reveals itself. You begin to understand why every previous effort to understand has failed, because you try to use the mind to find what is beyond the mind. The mind only knows how to classify, compare, affirm, or deny, while truth belongs to none of those opposites. It simply is. When you allow yourself to stop, not affirming, not denying, only being present, the thick layer of knowledge and belief begins to dissolve, and behind it is a vast emptiness that is not frightening, a stillness full of intelligence. There you realize that everything you once knew was only reflection, not source. All concepts of God, universe, meaning are only words trying to reach what cannot be named. Now, as language dissolves, you see the true language, the language of light and silence, not heard by the ear but felt, not understood but merged. And when you hear this language, you understand that everything around you is speaking, not in words, but in rhythm. Every being, every grain of sand, every motion is a verse in the endless song of existence, and you are the echo within it. The unveiling does not give you power, it removes the need for power. It does not make you exalted, it makes you real. You no longer wish to prove, no longer wish to attain, for you have seen clearly that there is nowhere to go, nothing to become. Everything you ever strive to have was already present, only hidden by the illusion of lack. When the veil falls, you see the wholeness existing right here. Nothing to add, nothing to remove, for all is perfect within its structure. From that state, you see that life is no longer a series of trials, but a flow of transformation. Every pain is no longer an enemy, but a door. Every loss no longer an end, but a rebirth. You begin to feel the hidden order within chaos and realize that life has never missed a beat, only that you once did not listen finely enough to hear it. When unveiling happens, your mind becomes quiet, not because it is shut off, but because it has merged into a higher layer of understanding. From then, intuition becomes the only compass, and every action begins from stillness. You no longer ask what to do, for the answer is always present in the moment. You only need to be still and listen. When you are still, the world becomes clear. When you listen, the world responds. That is the original relationship between human and life that you had forgotten. And now, in the new light, you remember everything becomes transparent. There are no good or bad people, no right or wrong, only souls at different stages of the same journey. Forgiveness no longer requires effort. It comes naturally like breathing, because you cannot hate what you see as yourself in another form. Just as a drop of water cannot hate a wave, because both are the sea. When awareness reaches this clarity, you begin to live as part of the flow, not resisting, not forcing, not fighting. Everything you do becomes effortless, because you no longer strain to control, you simply align. And in that alignment, your true power reveals itself. Not the power of will, but the power of order. When you are at the frequency of life, you do not need to pull, everything comes on its own. When you are in the flow, you no longer ask why, for every question has already been answered by the clarity of presence. The unveiling, therefore, is not a reward for effort, but the natural result of dissolution. When you are humble enough not to need to know, brave enough not to need to hold, truth appears by itself. It is not hidden, only waiting for you to stop interfering. And when it appears, you can never return to the old way of seeing, for everything has shifted its place. The self is no longer at the center. Life returns to its rightful position. You no longer live to reach, you live to express. Not because you want to, but because that is your nature. From here, every look, every action, every breath becomes a silent declaration that I have seen. Nothing left to prove, nothing left to fear, only transparent light flowing through all movements. The unveiling does not end with celebration, but with the deepest stillness, where you realize the search has ended, not because you found something, but because you understand you never lost it. Everything you once directed outward now turns inward, and from there light radiates outward again, carrying the gentleness of understanding. And so the circle closes. There is no beginning, no end, only awareness reflecting itself into infinity. Every journey of awakening reaches a point where words and silence touch, where awareness no longer needs interpretation to understand. It is the moment you stand between two worlds. One has dissolved, one is forming, and between them, There is only a single breath stretched in pure stillness. In that moment, something happens that cannot be named, a simple, clear, absolute recognition that you exist. Not as an individual within the universe, but as life itself looking through these eyes. The phrase "I am" begins to resound, not as words, but as frequency, as the echo of reality recognizing itself. From that moment, every thought, every emotion, every action becomes part of that invisible declaration, "I am." Nothing stands after it, nothing accompanies it. Just two words, enough to open the entire depth of existence. When you truly feel this, your awareness changes its structure. The mind, which once depended on separation to exist, begins to dissolve, for it can no longer find a boundary between subject and object. All definitions lose their weight, all beliefs fall from their foundations, leaving only the state of primal presence. There, you no longer ask about the meaning of life, because your very living is the meaning. You no longer need to seek purpose, because every movement of yours is the natural expression of the flow. When the phrase "I am" resonates within you, its energy begins to rewrite the structure of reality. Like a sound wave touching the surface of water, every layer of energy around you rearranges itself to reflect the frequency of the new awareness. What is not in harmony will leave on its own without your effort. What aligns will find its way to you without being called. This is the self-regulating principle of life. When you are in the frequency of "I am," every action becomes creative rather than reactive. You are no longer pulled by external forces. You become the center around which the outer world revolves. From here, your words begin to carry a different weight, because each word you speak is no longer just sound, but a coded command. When you say "I am peace," the entire space around you receives that signal and begins to reorganize to manifest it. When you say "I am abundance," the energy of abundance immediately finds you. It is not magic, but the quantum principle of resonance. Consciousness is the transmitter, and the universe is the reflective structure of that transmission. The declaration of existence is the way you remember, the creative power forgotten through thousands of years of living in the illusion of separation. Humanity once believed it had to strive to be worthy, to beg in order to be blessed, to seek the sacred beyond its reach. But when you realize that consciousness itself is the source, you understand there is no separation between the one who prays and what is prayed for. It is all a single process of energy recognizing itself. Each time you say "I am," you activate that mechanism, awakening the universal intelligence within yourself. The power of this phrase does not lie in its sound, but in the frequency of awareness behind it. If you say "I am" with doubt, the energy responds with chaos. If you say it with stillness and trust, the universe responds with order. It is not the words that create the miracle, but the state of the one who speaks. When your heart is clear, every declaration becomes a creative command. You do not need to affirm it 100 times, only once with your whole truth, and reality will hear it. Therefore, the declaration of existence is not a ritual, it is a way of living. Every breath is a statement that I am still here, I am still unfolding, I am still being. From there, you step into a new relationship with life. No more desire to possess, no more fear of loss, because you understand that nothing external truly belongs to you, and nothing is ever separate from you. Everything is simply changing form to help you recognize your unchanging essence. When you say "I am," you are speaking on behalf of all existence. Trees, water, wind, fire, all speak through you because you are no longer separate from them. You become the convergence point of consciousness where the universe expresses and observes itself. That state does not detach you from the world. It makes you love it more because you see everything as your own extension. Love now is no longer emotion, but the deep recognition that all is breathing in one rhythm. You see suffering and do not judge because you know it is only energy learning to remember. You see those who are not yet awake and do not blame because you know they are yourself at another moment. The declaration of existence allows you to stand within life without being consumed by it. You work, you speak, you love, you fail, but beneath all movement is an absolute stillness. Nothing can touch that core, for it is neither born nor destroyed. It simply exists, observes, and continues creating. When you live from that layer, life flows with a strange ease. There is no longer the feeling of having to control outcomes because you know the outcome already exists within pure intention. Everything arrives and leaves at the right time. Every encounter carries purpose. Every moment is a message. You become one who converses with the universe through your presence, and every instant is the reply. When you understand that I am is the doorway into infinite life, you will not use it to demand anything. You will use it to remember. Remember that you are part of the eternal intelligence, temporarily wearing human form. Remember that all limits are only illusions of perception. Remember that there is nothing to achieve, only the endless expansion of awareness. When you live with that remembrance, the world is no longer a place to fix, but a place to behold. Every movement becomes perfect, because you are no longer apart from its source. The declaration of existence is not written on paper, it is carved into every heartbeat, in every gaze, in the way you touch the world. Every act, no matter how small, carries the energy of I am, and through it, the universe continues to unfold itself. You become the pen of creation, writing reality through awareness, through presence, through unconditional love. And then you realize the greatest wonder, that this declaration never began, for it has been echoing since life first drew breath. It was only waiting for you to remember, to speak it again in your own rhythm, softly, clearly, and truly. I am. Nothing more is needed. For within those two words, the entire universe is already written. Light does not return with sound, it returns in silence, so gentle that you can only feel it when every layer of resistance within has dissolved. It does not come from the sky, nor from some distant place, but from the very point in the center of your chest where a pure form of awareness begins to blossom. After all that has collapsed, after all that has been seen, light is no longer a symbol of hope. It is the evidence of understanding, the confirmation that nothing has been lost. Only that awareness has opened. When you have walked through the long night of the soul, when all darkness has completed its role, you begin to see what was once invisible, that light has never left you. It was only obscured by the very ideas of self you carried. The return of light is not an action but a state where every part of you, even those once mistaken, lost or wounded, is seen again through transparent eyes. There is no longer a battle between right and wrong, between light and dark, because you understand that both are the breaths of the same essence. In that seeing, light spreads, not from above downward, but from within outward, seeping into every detail of life. You begin to notice the sacredness in ordinary things, in the way sunlight glides across the wall, the sound of falling water, the scent of the wind, the breath of the one beside you. Everything shares the same substance, and you realize the world has never been matter. It is luminous awareness wearing form. When light returns, time seems to lose its power. The past no longer weighs, the future no longer threatens. You stand in the present as if standing in the middle of a river whose water flows endlessly. Each moment becomes complete, needing nothing added, nothing taken away, because light has filled it all. In that fullness, you no longer wish to prove anything, nor to rise above anyone, for you see clearly there is no one else to surpass. Every being is a way through which light learns self-recognition, each person a reflective point, and when one remembers, the entire structure brightens together. That is why your awakening never belongs only to you. It spreads by the natural law of resonance. A single candle, once lit, brightens the entire room, and none lose their flame. When light moves through you, others can feel it, not through words, but through presence. There is something in your gaze, in your rhythm of speech, in the way you exist that makes them feel at peace. You do not teach, you do not persuade, you do not preach, you simply live, and that living itself is the message. Light never seeks to defeat darkness, it simply exists, and darkness dissolves. When you understand this, you no longer try to fix anyone, nor to reform the world, you only keep your inner light uncovered. Whenever fear arises, look directly at it, for just one beam of awareness will make it vanish like mist. Whenever anger surfaces, let light shine through it, and you will see that behind anger is only pain longing to be acknowledged. Whenever despair visits, remember that even the deepest darkness is only where light is preparing to return. The deeper you go, the more you understand that light is not merely comfort, it is the intelligence of life, the operational essence of the universe. Every system, from cell to galaxy, functions under the principle of illumination and reflection. Life is sustained by the transmission of awareness, energy, and you are part of that network. When you become conscious that you are shining, you begin to live with intention, no longer wasting energy on trivial things. Every thought, every emotion, every action is chosen carefully, for they are rays of light sent outward, returning as experience. The return of light, therefore, is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new form of living, where you are no longer the seeker of light, but its bearer. Your presence becomes a harmonizing instrument. Wherever you pass, the air grows still, people soften, tangled situations begin to align. You do nothing, you simply are, and light performs its work. In this state, words become rare, for you realize most of what was once spoken was only to cover silence. Now silence becomes the primary language, a soundless dialogue deeper than all words. You understand that truth never needs to be explained, for it cannot be heard, only felt. The return of light is the moment your heart opens wide enough to hold all of humanity. With no borders, no judgment, only seeing. You begin to love without reason, help without duty, forgive without virtue, because that is the natural instinct of light when it is free. When light fills your entire being, you become transparent. Everything passes through without leaving traces. Sorrow comes and goes. Joy comes and goes. Nothing clings, and therefore you are always new. This newness does not come from change, but from the continual rebirth of awareness. Light is never old, because it does not accumulate, it only radiates. And that is how you begin to live, carrying no past, storing no emotion, imprisoning yourself in no memory. You become pure energy, both the one living and the breath of life itself. When light returns completely, you look back upon your journey and understand there were never any mistakes, never any wrong turns, only different ways for light to find itself through your experience. You no longer ask why things happen. You simply know that every event is a reminder that light is still here, still waiting, patiently to be seen. In that awareness, you walk gently, no longer driven by purpose, but guided by trust. Life becomes a dialogue between you and existence, where answers always appear on time, where every beginning is continuation and every ending is expansion. And finally, you understand that light has never come or gone, it only changes perspective. When you no longer search, you find you have always been within it. When you stop, you realize everything around you is already bright. Not because the world has become better, but because you are seeing with the eyes of light. And so the journey completes not with trumpets or glory, but with the absolute peace of a soul that has come home.